Alright, the history of Roblox Bedwars Ranked, a mode where the sweats can play their hearts out. Roblox Bedwars was originally a pretty chill game, but that's when Tanker introduced a whole new wave of sweats, as he did with Arsenal. And the problem with these sweats was they had nowhere to release their, sweatiness, I guess. So they would just bring it out on the players, and the players would start to leave the game. But EasyG.gg and Snake Tricks realized if they added a ranked game mode where, everyone wants to scale the leaderboard, people would be more willing to play that, allowing the rest of the games to be free of these a little bit good, a little cracked players. Alright, so to understand why ranked was so important, we must go back to Season 1 when ranked was first introduced. Ranked is a competitive game mode that was added in the November 5th, 2021 update, the second week of Season 1. It allows players to compete against other players to climb the ladder in attempts to reach Nightmare. So, Ranked began as a 4v4v4v4, or also known as squads, and it lasted that way up until Season 6. And during those seasons, those ranked games were mainly dominated by the people who had the level 50 kit, as back in those days, the level 50 kit was the best kit, and it was pretty much unmatched. I remember in Season 6, everyone was using Kalia, because Kalia metal, you're not dying. Plus, it does 84 damage, 2 emerald armor, without crit strike. So, it was pretty broken. It was soon realized that there was these developing strategies like metal, bed defense, and then a Kalia, and another jug, and people were starting to develop better and better strats. But then came along 5v5, and 5v5 was first debuted near the end of Season 6 as a way to show what could be the ranked season in next. And yeah, 5v5 became the new ranked because it was more competitive, highly skill based, and there wasn't these third party issues. So you needed to have some requirements for 5v5 ranked, of course. You can't just walk in here as a level 1, otherwise that would be pretty unfair for other players who actually know how to play. So the requirements for 5v5 ranked, back in Season 7, were you at least had to have 100 wins. And that was pretty easy on its own. I mean, hackers can get 100 wins without getting banned now. But back then, it was literally impossible to get more than 20 wins before getting banned. I've seen hackers get banned before they even reach level 2 in Bedwars in Season 7, which is less than a day. And now you need an account age of 7 days and have a player level of 20 or more. Or you had to have played a ranked match before this was first implemented, so before the 100 wins cap. And if a team only has 3 or fewer players before the match starts, the match will be cancelled. And this is the birth of Q dodging. There was also some simple requirements that people had to play within their ranked, which means that people who are gold can't play with nightmare players, because that would just be boosting. And in addition, this also kind of made it so that there was a lot of alts on the ranked leaderboard that were owned by one account. For example, let me start with Model. Model has 6 accounts that are nightmare, Rash, Samical, not Samical anymore, but Rash, him, and 2 other accounts. I mean, It's Hooded also has another ranked account on there. Bacon has 2 up there. A lot of people just have their ranked accounts, other people's and their ranked accounts that they ranked up for them up there, which is why we have so much alts on the leaderboard. Okay, so here we go into the legends of ranked, and I'm sure if you've played ranked for literally 1 second, or at least know what competitive Bedwars is, you know at least 2 of these players. So, the competitive world of Roblox is defined by fierce rivalry to be the top 1 player, and a strategic mastery with gambit strats and troll strats and just genuinely like game-breaking strats. And the players who rose to the top were considered some of the best players of all time. So this is the story of the legends who've shaped the rank ladder season by season. The early rank scene was providing ground for players who perfected the art of blitzing the other players. This would allow them to have a competitive advantage by having 2 generators. Now, by securing 2 generators, they're allowed to have double the iron and also have more control over middle, which allowed the Kalias and the Zephyrs to get insanely stacked, which also allowed the metals to get their metals without getting absolutely chased down. So among these few players, one stood out per season or per era, and we have to start with seasons 1 through 3, which were not dominated by anyone in general, but were a mix of a few different players who knew their own styles. To begin, then, season 3 to season 6 was a rise of Wavy. Now, Relio Wavy is an absolute dominant player who is known for his insane late game. He also knew how to coordinate and communicate, and he's also a strategic player. He knew how to use his every kit, and he knew how to dominate. His superior game sense and well-timed pushes established him as a top-tier player early on. Now, we have Yo J-Pingstar, also known as Cat, and he was between season 7 to 9 and 11 and 12. This period belonged to the most formidable player who absolutely dominated the rank page because of Caitlyn, and he was known for his relentless aggression, and he knew when to back off when he needed to. But his insane aim, insane late game skills allowed him to control the entire game. He was known for, just destroying everyone. I mean, J-Ping and Godlike, they were the 2 greats. And he became the player to beat, and he cemented his legacy as a dominating force over multiple seasons. Now we come into the Wall, Nico, and Godlike era, which is season 7 to 12. And running concurrently with Relio J-Ping's reign, this era was dominated by the skills of Wall, Nico, and the legendary Relio Godlike, also known as literally the god of Bedwars. Wall was known for his clutch wins and impeccable one-on-one combat, and he was also known as a good second jug. He was never a great main jug, but he was pretty consistent across the field. Nico was also a crazy consistent player who was known for his funny tactics and just obviously his troll strategies. And Godlike perfected the art of blitzing, rushing, controlling, aim, music taste. I mean, he got everything, bro. And methodically upgrading his Caitlyn. He knew what contracts to select and how to select them. And he just was an absolute menace on the field. So these players weren't just skilled. They were pioneers, creating a roadmap for others to follow and solidifying the competitive nature of Roblox Bedwars Ranked. Their gameplay defined eras and inspired generations of new players to strive for greatness. Now, you might have realized I haven't talked about Season 10 yet. Well, Season 10 was honestly a pretty decent season. It was not the worst, not the best. It was mainly talked about as the worst ranked season because of the fact you would just get third party if you were famous. There are a bunch of things where Godlike would just get Q dodge, he would get targeted. I mean, he wasn't unable to get Nightmare for half the season, and then his team joined the Q dodging spree. So yeah, that's how he got Nightmare after that. But it was also a great season for people who were just casuals. I mean, there were a lot of gold players and silver players in lobbies, and it was pretty easy to get gold that season. But the meta wasn't shaped by players. Kits played a huge role in every single season, ever since season 1, and including the beta season. Beta season had some of the best kits, like Pharmacletus Baker and Barbarian. Those kits and Archer allowed control of the game, and kits just defined the gameplay. But the meta, it was a complex dance between player skills, the game mechanics, and the strategic choices they made. This is where strategies like Gambit and meta strats came to play. A meta strat like Caitlyn, Xeno, um, Metal, Stella, and then a Baker would allow them to just dominate because these kits were respectfully good in their own areas. Baker was an insane late game kit, um, especially after the introduction of the Golden Apple. Stella allowed the other team to get extra HP, and that was proven helpful. And Caitlyn, it's pretty self-explanatory. Decay damage over how many seconds, that can do a lot of damage. I mean, that's pretty great. And then we also have the the introduction of like Xeno. Xeno was not a great kit before. Like it was terrible. I mean, the wizard kit was just not very good. And then Xeno got a rework, and it dominated rank with its static ability, stopping the healing of players for upwards of 10 seconds, and consistent AoE damage. 12 damage early on with 4 zaps. That's 48 damage, and in the AoE area can do upwards of like getting half their team down to like half health. And a gambit strategy is a completely broken thing otherwise. It is a high risk, high reward plan where a player makes a bad move to gain a future advantage, such as a strategy like Warden Sticks Kaida and Double Lani. And it's a pretty insane idea because if it doesn't work, you're susceptible to your bed getting destroyed and you just getting wipes, which is a huge problem. But if pulled off right, this gambit strategy can allow you to get quick wins and pretty easily climb the ranked leaderboard. And we cannot talk about ranked without talking about the 3 main kits that shaped it. Sheila and Caitlyn. Now you might be wondering, well, what's so good about these kits? No, it's very good. As I explained about Caitlyn, contracts allowing you to get emeralds and allowing you to get insane damage and target damage and decay damage. It's just pretty insane. But we haven't talked about Sheila. Now, Sheila was introduced in the Season 6 Winter Bundle of 2022, and it was one of the kits that I could have gotten, but I was pretty dumb, and I kind of forgot about the fact that Hannah was a free kit, and I bought it, and then, yeah, that's my fault. But their ability to dominate the field compared to other kits let them soar up the leaderboard, even after numerous nerfs, and they can continue to be a consistent part of the ranked leaderboard. In addition, ranked is always a revolving door of metas and ideas. In Season 4 and 5, no one would have thought, oh, Pirate Davy would be a insane ranked metagame strategy. But now, Pirate Davy is nearly in every kit in every team if metal gets banned, because its cycle ability, its bed breaking ability, the duping the TNT, and the consistent damage it outputs allows it to become such a flexible kit that people have like devoted their life to learning how to use Pirate Davy. And before I forget already, we must talk about season 13. Season 13 was a weird season for ranked. It started off with the weird PvP system, then in addition it was released a week late, and then on top of that, to make it even worse, there was lots of hackers, and there was kit ban bypassing, and there was Q dodging, and there was a whole bunch of issues. But I think Bedwars is turning it around, and I'm happy to see what ranked season 14 will look like.